Hi guys, welcome back. Happy Monday or Tuesday if you're watching this on Tuesday. So today we're going to be in part 3 of lesson 1. We're going to be talking about Sumer's contributions or advancements and achievements that they have contributed to society. And remember, it matters because the Sumerians made important advances in areas such as farming and writing that laid the foundation for future civilizations like us. Okay, really quick, if you notice, no Miss Todrick. Well, she was absent today and hopefully is well rested. So when you see her, tell her welcome back. All right, let's dig right into the content, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Hi guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about Sumerian contributions, or things that they gave and contributed to our society. Now, Sumeria is one of the first civilizations and known for one of the first civilizations that had an organized human society. So, one of the most important inventions is to be thought cuneiform, or the first writing. Now, how did that affect back then and today? Well, they were able to keep records. Now, prior to this, we didn't have written documents. And now, because of the invention of writing, we are able to understand and read about these times. It's also important because we start to see literature. Now, epics or long poems were created, and specifically about heroes such as Gilgamesh. Now, if you remember reading about Gilgamesh, he was believed to be a god and human. And then scribes, which are professional writers. So remember specialization of labor, we start to see people able to have other jobs besides farming. And one of those jobs was a scribe. One of the next inventions that the Sumerians came up with, and a very useful tool, was the wheel. So with the invention of the wheel, we start to see improved farming in that they could have donkeys or certain animals carry carts of food or products, anything like that, to and from. So having a vehicle to be able to do that increased the productivity on the farm. And it improved pottery. How so? Well, if you think about a wheel, a pottery wheel, being able to create something in a ceramic type setting, remember it's spinning on a wheel. So this helped really improve the type of products that they were able to make. If you see this thing down here, those are not just rolled up pieces of clay and put together. No, this is spun on a wheel. So the contribution of the wheel was one of the most practical things that were invented of this time. If you recall back to the ancient Mesopotamia video that we watched on Monday, you will remember that they talked about the plow being one of the most important inventions when it came to farming. Now, this really improved farming in that it broke up hard soil to prepare it for planting. Remember, they would, if you look at this picture here, they would use a larger animal to pull this plow, and it would help them be able to break up that soil to prepare it for farming. Another important Sumerian contribution was the invention of sails. So with the sail, it allowed for ships to travel faster. Now, why would this be important? Well, especially when it came to trading. So when the Sumerian society or civilization wanted to trade with other civilizations, getting the product there faster meant they could trade quicker and get money or other goods for their civilization faster. So the invention of sails came from the Sumerians and one of the most important contributions to date.
All right, guys, so we've been talking about inventions and achievements of Sumerian civilization. And one thing that I'm not sure that the other teacher said, I haven't listened to all their videos yet, is that to keep in mind that when we're talking contributions, contributions are what distinguish one civilization from another. And so when we want to compare and contrast civilizations, one of the areas that we're going to look at is these contributions and their achievements and what they did. So one that we want to look at first is the one I want to talk about first is the math system based on the number 60, which is where we get our hours and our minutes. It's also where we get the circle that's divided into 360 degrees. We get 12 months that are for a year. A year is divided into 12 months. And all of this was based off a circle and the degrees that are in a circle. Now, it's always amazing to me how these ancient cultures figured out all these numbers that are still accurate today. And I think that's pretty amazing how that our life is got a lot of echoes or a lot of things that are shadows of what they did that still influence us today. So history is important. The things we learn in history explain why we do things the way we do them today. And so it's a good cause and effect, and it's a good relationship between us and them. So another advancement that we want to look at, another contribution, is advances in medicine. And medicine is an interesting one. It talks about, it lends itself to talk about advances in medicine and how they treated diseases and how they healed people. They noticed that they could use natural ingredients and that sometimes if you ate certain plants or you had certain vitamins or different, not vitamins because it'd be just plants, but vitamins in the soils and things that they grew, that you would have different effects on your health. So natural ingredients. One thing that they noticed was that they would eat a lot of vegetables, that their immune system was higher. And so people didn't get the common cold as much. And so that's where it comes from when your mom says, eat your vegetables so you won't get sick. That's the kind of thing that they're talking about. And then they started to put things together to look at where the pain actually is in your body and see if there's something wrong with that part of your body, rather than just assume that a spirit has afflicted you or something like that. And so they started taking their medicine and treatment of sicknesses a little more seriously and a little more methodically to search things out as what the problems were. So the last contribution we want to talk about is in the form of architecture. And architecture is the science of building. So building buildings, engineering, other inventions, those kinds of things are what we see. And so ziggurats are the form of architecture that we want to look at, especially for this. So they had large palaces, and they actually had homes. So they built individual homes for families, and they lived in extended families that would live together in a home. And it was built with mud and clay and dried bricks, what they had available to them. Every civilization is going to use their resources to make their homes better. But a ziggurat is something we want to pay a little closer attention to. If you'll notice, the ziggurat is a step pyramid. So it's like a pyramid, but it's got steps going up to it. And students often get the confusion between a pyramid and a ziggurat. A ziggurat is definitely a Sumerian contribution. It's something they came up with. We can see it right here. We can see those steps, how it's got layers. Look like they put little squares on top of each other, little building blocks. You can see all three of the layers right there. So a ziggurat was built for worship, where a pyramid in Egypt is going to be a tomb. Two totally different things. So that's a confusion that students have, and I want you to keep it straight. So when you see a ziggurat, you should think that we could step and climb up to the heavens, and then we could worship the God once we were up on top, close to heaven where we should be. As opposed to a tomb where we would have our little guy right here, he would slide down into the grave. So you want to try to keep that straight. So think of pyramid, think of a ziggurat for worship, and pyramid as a tomb. So those are accomplishments for this area right here. That's it for me, guys. Talk to you later. Okay, so surprise, gotcha, I'm still here. Thanks, Miss Lewis, for that excellent intro. I was supposed to talk about art too, so I want to cover that pretty quick. So the advancements that were made in art, because they had advanced agriculture and were able to do that, they had artisans that developed, and artisans are skilled workers, remember, training for a special job. So pottery, check our little pottery, watch it move. There it went. And so pottery, they started coming up with more designs in that, making it also beautiful as well as effective. And they would store extra grain and things that they had in there from farming. Their jewelry, all right, watch, here goes our jewelry with our little there you go. And also jewelry was a major way of art, expressing creativity used in burial and just used in everyday life so that they would have pretty stuff. So the last one we'll talk about right here is a cylinder. Now, not everybody could read and write, and so they created cylinders, and they would roll them across in the clay, and certain pictures meant certain people's names. So it's like a little bitty illustrated signature, and you would just roll it across the bottom of the document, and that would be your name. And so that's it for Sumerian art. We just wanted to add that slide in there. And I am really through this time. See you guys later.
Okay, now we're on to the hot question. Why do you think writing is one of history's most important cultural advances? Think in terms of how would our lives be affected right now if we couldn't write? Why would that be such an important cultural advance? Pause the video before you go on to the next hot question. Okay, our next hot question. Other than writing, what do you think was Sumeria's most important invention or achievement, and why? What would be the next most important thing that they did that we benefit from today? Remember, guys, you need to answer these questions because you will see them at some point in time again, and it is good for you to get a grasp and an understanding of what you're dealing with. So take a moment and answer the next one.